Good morning. It's a somewhat chilly here, but nice and sunny. 6:41 a.m. On April 30th, 2014, here in the southern end of the Salish Sea, near the capital of Washington State, which is Olympia, not Seattle, guys. Just to let you know. Anyway, new format. We're going to try and get through some stuff really quick, so that this is the second in the Immediacy Data Intelligence Report series. This one is effective for, again, out to 2 months. We're dealing with immediacy data 3 days out to the end of the third week, and with short-term data from the beginning of the third week out to the end of the fourth month. And we just want to run through some things as we've got a bunch of changes. Quickly, a bunch of housekeeping. Yada, 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 donation spiel here. And now on to more housekeeping. Really good article on Spain's Twitter readers, if you want to call them that. These people that are using the Twitter feed, and they've actually discovered the short-term data type as well as I had in 1998. To do some predicting of the future, and they're getting fairly good at it in certain areas. I've got a link on my site at Half Past Human to this article, and which includes a video. Other things real quick. I've been taken to task for some comments on Putin, and I'll stand by him. You know, he may be a rich fellow, but he's not there through the kind of corruption that you see throughout Russia. He's corrupt in some ways, perhaps, but he's his own he's his own Russian, you know? I mean, you got to understand the Russian language and martial arts in order to understand Putin and who the hell he is. He is honest to the core. He's got his own set of life guiding principles. He is a lifelong judoka. He's I don't think he's as old as I am. But you have to understand what it's like to be a lifelong martial artist. I mean, you guys that are in your 20s and your 30s and you're out there doing it, hey, keep doing it in your 40s, your 50s, and your 60s. And you go through a transitional phase. And there is something really cool about that transitional phase for the male archetype manifesting in the materium here. And so it gives you huge insight to such persons. And it's like, you know, Putin is fairly predictable because he's so damn honest and lives by his own code as a judoka. So under the circumstances, you know, Obama and all the corrupt assholes, ketchup boy there, what's his name, you know, Heinz's husband, these people don't know, they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue as to what's going on. And they're going to be very, very, very ill-prepared for the way in which this unfolds. I don't see why. I mean, they must be terribly stupid not to be able to see what's coming. Or there must be something that keeps them on that same path and without altering their behavior, in spite of seeing the natural outcome of it. It's a binary kind of an equation there. Anyway, so Putin's a judoka. He's intelligent. He's an honest. He's a true Russian kind of a guy in terms of, you know, he's not going to flee and try and seek refuge with his wealth in the West. He is Russian at a core level, and he's really truly the man that had greatness thrust upon him. And circumstances thrust upon him beyond his wildest imaginations as a youth. And he's doing his best and doing a damn fine job to cope with it all. So that's basically where we're at with Putin. And, you know, you got to Panyamayu the Paruski. You got to understand the Russian language and in order to really understand the Russians. And even then, you got to go beyond the language and you got to read their literature in order to get even a hint of the Russian soul. And believe me, guys, if you haven't read Wild Strawberries in the Cyrillic, your ability to grasp the nature of what Russia went through and is going through now and where they're at in their particular cycle is extremely limited in your grasp of what they're going to do and how the Russians will respond, because Putin is a Russian. He's an old style Russian as well. And that means something as well to those people that understand the terminology. He's not an OV, not a member of that group of Russians, but he's close. And that means a lot, especially in the Russian culture. So just that little bit of housekeeping there. And then one last little note here. We're going to try and keep these reports to 10 or 15 minutes on these short ones, and then do one long one a week, and then as many short ones as is required, to see if we can't just cover all of this for everybody. Okay, so we're going to look again real quick at silver and gold. Not gold so much, but silver is really interesting here. We've got a lot of data sets actually that tie up silver, Bitcoin, and the dollar by about July 1 into just this huge swirly mass. The data on the dollar is interesting. If you're in the Forex kind of market and you do that kind of crap, there's going to be a dollar on fire kind of a period. It's going to really rise in value. I'd have to say nearer to the end of June, there's going to be a pump on the system, or however, I'm not really sure how they're going to do that, but we have a lot of language around fire for the dollar. I might be misinterpreting it. It might be able to be interpreted as a fire sale on the dollar near the end of June. But the end result is that it does this shift near the end of June, and I'm going to have to say around maybe before the 20th. It's hard to say. The data set in the model space is difficult to read at sometimes when it's just so full of very emotive values. And so under the circumstances, we get a wide spread of, it could be 3 or 4 days that are being presented visually, just because every time you shift it, you can't tell, just because everything changes everywhere. So we get a lot of very negative language about the dollar and a period of time around mid to late June. This is also at the same time that there's all this language about the next stage in the Ukraine adventure of the CIA's attempted coup, and that goes very bad for them. There is a suggestion that a circumstance is going to arise where silver will look and gold will look so attractive as investments that we're going to see a slight drop in the price of Bitcoin, because a fair number of people will be, apparently, this is just the forecast, selling Bitcoins to buy silver to try and get in on this silver process train. However, let me note that as the Bitcoin meme has moved further into July, it's a real standout because the price may drop down into the 300s for all I know, but the price is seen as relatively cheap, and it may mean that it moves $5, and because of the way that the dollar is going to go, it's just going to get outrageous. But in any event, it's going to be seen as relatively cheap, as after there's been this rush to do a bunch of buying in silver. Now, I think the two are related. There's some number of cross-links indicating that there may be this pattern. They are temporally related, no doubt. So even if we don't see a shift in the price of Bitcoin, its big rise won't occur until people run out of the ability to buy silver. And basically, this is what's going to happen. The data would suggest that by fall, things will be so bad, and we're starting really in May, and we're going to go through the course of June and July, and then it sort of fades out a bit in terms of our data reach. But nonetheless, we have this projected trend of a, what do they call it in the mainstream? A flight to safety, where the individual masses of humans will be so freaked out by the problems hitting the dollar and the economic or the financial system, the really stupid moves by all of the Western politicians, the degradation of the social contract in huge levels in very large countries like the United States, will cause so much anxiety about the underlying fundamentals that for the first time the meme that the dollar could take a huge hit will penetrate into the basic schlub class in the United States, and there will be a mass movement of the herd. And this will mean a shift towards attempting to buy silver. So there's going to be a lot of panic buying of silver and a lot of panic buying of gold. Of course, neither of these are going to be available. What little will be available will go to the point where people will be bidding up, silver-plated candelabra, that kind of thing. And eBay will be, and other auction sites will be a real hotbed of activity for the purchasing of silver. We'll also see a lot of articles in the press and the mainstream attempting to demonize the metals by reporting all kinds of thefts, robberies, people getting killed, etc. for the metals in their house. And you don't want to do that, citizens. You want to be good citizens and convert all that silver and stuff into gold and convert it all into dollars and put those dollars back in the safety of your bank. Now, bear in mind, they're going to do a huge bail-in this coming fall. So any money you've got in the bank past September or so is really at risk, and it may be as early as August. It's going to get really dodgy here as we go on in through summer. Our data sets don't go out to the long term, so I can't really determine when the bail-in component hits, but we've already got the early parts of the language showing up. So bear that in mind. But it's a building trend, so we're nowhere near its cresting point. The cresting point tells us how far away it's going to occur from that point. Anyway, so there's a quick rundown of where we are in the fiscal, financial component of things. Gold's going to lag silver simply because there's going to be a mass schlub level of human sheeple movement into silver, and not so much into gold from their viewpoint, but gold will still be wanting to be traded very higher. The drain on that at a physical level is going to be reported on in the alternative media and known so far and wide that the next phase will be a lot of people rushing into Bitcoin. There appears prior to that to be a slight sell down in Bitcoin as people convert to dollars for use in attempting to buy silver, which isn't there. Anyway, so there's that. We also have a lot of data for really nasty weather situations with increasing tornadoes in out-of-area places, including up here in the Northwest and in Canada. So be advised, guys. And we've already had one here a little while back that took a barn or a garage or something out up in Pierce County. A little tiny whirlwind. But we're going to get some fairly unusual weather up here as far as winds. The winds pattern growth is going to be huge throughout the planet. We're looking for major windstorms in the mainstream media reported in just all kinds of hyperbole in terms of the language, just because they'll be reaching to try and describe these things as they descend on the planet over the course of this summer. That's about the far edge of our short-term data and what we've got. I'll be bringing another short-term report here, and hopefully a short report, shorter than this one even, hopefully by the end of the week. It's just going to depend on the data flows. And thanks much for listening. Oh, yeah. A donation spiel here. Thanks. Bye.